Going live. Oh, is the audio still playing? Music? All right. Well, hopefully it's working and hopefully people can hear me. We've been having a lot of trouble with the audio today, and I'm really hoping that it works. So, if anybody's watching right now, please let me know, and we'll be able to see if this is going to work okay. No comments yet. Just going to hang tight for a few minutes here. Are you watching? Can you hear? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sounds working. Good. I see we have one viewer. Wonder who that could be. All right. I'm just going to hang tight for a few minutes. I'm live, but Juan's the only viewer right now. So just going to hang tight for a few seconds. Just sharing this around a little bit. Maybe get a few people watching. All right. So today's event is just starting right now. If you are watching, please let me know if it sounds okay. Please let me know if everything's working okay. I'm going to start up now because it is already 5:03 and I'm supposed to start these at 5 o'clock. Trying to keep these going nice and quick. Should be done by around 5:30 or so. Hopefully, if you're watching and you have questions, you'll feel free to chat in the comment below where you're watching here, and I can be able to answer them right away. We've also got one of my colleagues, Juan, is working today, and he's going to be checking it out. Jerry, you're watching. Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate you letting me know. Okay, so first of all, what is the idea of what I'm doing today? This is what I'm calling the Weekly BrYangle Report, talking about photography, talking about things related to Henry's. That's where I'm broadcasting this from right now at Henry's Newmarket in our little nook, our special little room. I've had a few comments saying how big the room looks, and really it's just like literally a nook. But it's awesome, and I'm really thankful that Henry's is letting me do this. The idea is to get people understanding what we can do for you here at Henry's, give you a couple quick tips, a little nuggets of information that you can learn something from, and generally try and have some fun. We're doing a photo contest. I'll talk about that in a few minutes, and a lot of other things. So first, let me get to what I call the DigiKnow, the digital know-how. Just a quick tip to help people understand photography a little bit better. There's a big thing in photography, the resolution that you shoot, called RAW. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between RAW and JPEG. Before I do that, I just want to say hi to Chris, who's watching. Good day, sir. Thank you for watching. And of course, if you have questions, let me know. That's the whole point of this, is for it to be a two-way conversation, a community kind of thing. There will be a point in our Q&A segment a little bit later on where it's kind of open for hearing what you have to think and so on, but by all means, let me know anytime. All right, so the DigiKnow, RAW versus JPEG. There's a lot of people that don't quite know the difference between those two, and I always like to kind of paraphrase the whole thing or just sum it up by saying RAW is all of the raw ingredients that you would be able to cook if you wanted to make a pie or something special at home. The JPEG is already the cooked product. In other words, when you take a picture with a digital camera, it captures binary code, zeros and ones, lots of them in all different arrangements. When you shoot in a JPEG, it takes all of that information, throws every third bit in the garbage, compresses your file to a smaller size, and makes it more digestible for every computer and everything to read in the world. JPEG stands for Joint Photographic Experts Group. It's basically a group of people decided that this is a universal language for digital files, and it's called JPEG. That way you can take a picture with any camera, a cell phone, one of these guys, any camera you want, in a JPEG format, and print it on our store kiosk here, or upload it to an email and send it to a friend. So JPEGs are universally accepted. RAW, on the other hand, is a very specific language. For example, my Nikon D7100, the Schwartz here, let's just say it speaks Chinese, where this Canon 5D over here might speak Greek. You know, you don't know. It's a different language. It's a different codec. The RAW format is unique to it. So what you need is software that can decipher that language, analyze it, and let you edit it. The benefit of RAW is you get 3 times the dynamic range. You get 3 times the file size. You can manipulate your shadows and your highlights a lot more. You can completely change your white balance after the fact. JPEG, a lot of those things are already done for you because that pie has been cooked. My wife is an incredible baker. She makes the most incredible cookies. You can give the same ingredients to anybody else, and they'll come back with something just a little different than what she would make. So my wife is a great cook. She can make great cookies, and she has developed this recipe that makes them taste great. If I were to take those ingredients and make it myself, I might not make it as well. So I will let her do it. And sometimes letting your camera do this for you is pretty good too. The cook inside your camera is like Wolfgang Puck. It's one of the best cooks out there. It does a great job. But if you really want that control of your image, you shoot in RAW, you can fix a lot of the things that the camera didn't think about. You can clean up noise a little bit better. As I said before, you can change your white balance and a lot of other settings to a higher level. It just gives you more control of your data. So RAW versus JPEG, if you really want to edit your photos, shoot in RAW, and you can do whatever you want after the fact. If you want your camera to take care of all those things for you, shoot in JPEG. The results are still excellent. We have a lot of people that say RAW rules, you have to shoot RAW. I don't agree with that. I think there are certain situations where you need to shoot JPEG. For example, if I'm a hockey photographer, professional, I need to be able to take 300 images from a period, cull those down to 10 images, upload those to the server, and be ready for the next period within, 10 minutes. If I'm shooting in RAW, there's just no way I can keep up to the workflow. JPEG, you can do it very quickly, and just a few little minor adjustments is all you should need, and you can get that data flowing. So there are some situations JPEG is essential, and there are a lot of other situations where it just works really well. So don't let that whole debate, RAW versus JPEG, throw you. If you want to get the full control, and if you're that control freak for your edits, or like me, where you just want to make sure you have that data to work with, shoot RAW. If you don't want to do all that, shoot JPEG. They're both excellent. So that's my DigiKnow for today. Any questions on that, please let me know. I see Bryan is here. How are you, sir?
Well,
Good to see you. Do you want a chair?
they're getting me.
Spectacular. Okay, moving on a little bit, I'm going to talk about what's new and used at Henry's. New and used is my section where I'm getting into maybe some new products or some new technology that might be really cool, And used could be some used equipment or something that is used in the industry. Today, I'm going to go for some new stuff. I've got a couple new things to talk about. The first is something that's kind of interesting. You might find this interesting too, Bryan. Facebook, Meta, is actually starting something next month where they're auto-tagging anything that has been AI generated, any image or any video, on Instagram, on Facebook, and Threads starting next month with a tag that says AI generated or made with AI. So from now forward on all of the Meta platforms, you're actually going to know that this is an AI generated image or video, which I think is huge because with the way deep fakes are going and all these crazy things that people can do with AI these days, the lines are being really blurred. Real imagery is different than generated imagery. And now that they're putting the label on there, that's just a really good sign that this is something that is positive, I think. Another really cool thing, just a little quick tidbit here at night or here at Henry's, we're doing a special sports optic sales event. In other words, binoculars, Nikon specifically, are on sale quite a good price. We're seeing $60 off a pair of $300-400 binoculars. So that's a good discount. And if you're looking for getting some nice binoculars, Nikon has tons of them available. And if you look at henrys.com, you'll see all the different options. There's actually a lot more than we have in our store. So there's 7 magnification for birding. There's 8 or 10 magnification for more distance. There's even the zoom one where you can zoom to 22 times magnification. So there's some pretty cool binoculars. Check that out. And the most important part, the most important new from the month or from this week is tomorrow. It's National Pet Day. I don't know if you know this. It's important stuff. You got to talk about the important stuff. National Pet Day tomorrow for all of our 4-legged, hopefully, friends, our furry friends, our family, and all that are little critters that run around our house. Have a special day with them tomorrow. Give them a little extra love and enjoy tomorrow's National Pet Day. On to the used conversation. I know, I'm talking about the important things here, guys. On to the used conversation. We have some funny used things in our store right now. I asked Juan the other day, what should we talk about for the used section? He goes, talk about the projector. Random, but we actually have a Canon projector in our store, a used projector. This is a really nice DLP projector. It's only $300. A lot of people are still looking for a projector so they can show, videos in remote locations or go outside in the nice summer weather and project it against the side of your house or something. Bryan, what are you thinking?
Take that.
Mm-hmm.
Slide.
Yeah, project a slide. Trace it and color it as art is what Bryan's saying. That's a great idea. There's a lot of people. Who's the artist? Canadian artist, female. There, is that working? Yeah, that's working. Can you hear me now, Juan? Hello, hello, hello. Jerry, if you're watching, can you let me know if you can hear me? Sorry about this, everybody. Oh, you can hear me now? Fantastic. Only problem is now I hear myself as well. So let me see if I can turn off, monitor off. No, that, no, that, yes. Okay, perfect. Now I think that's working. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I think I've got it back up again. So yes, the first thing in the used was the projector, which I think is kind of cool. So I'll talk about it. It's only $299. These things are usually a lot more money. The second thing I wanted to talk about quickly was this Canon 5D Mark III. Awesome camera. Brian's eyes just lit up. The 5D3 is recognized as one of the best DSLRs for getting into video and photography and just about everything you want to do. This guy's on sale for $850 right now. They're usually a lot more money. The reason why this is so inexpensive is what we call the NH used equipment. NH means no help. You can't add extended help on it, or extended warranty plan, because it already has a lot of photos taken on it. So here's the deal. It's got 347,000 actuations. That's about average for the lifespan of one of these. But if you're buying this as a second camera, if you're looking for a really good camera as an additional camera to your arsenal, it does come with a 90-day warranty right from us. So you're able to use it and have protection if there's a problem right away. And if not, it'll probably last you a lot longer than you'll ever think. So option 2, solid choice, 5D3 for only $850.
B-roll.
B-roll. Great point, Bryan. Yeah, absolutely. You can use it for B-roll, for slow motion, for all kinds of different things. Yeah, it's full frame. Beautiful camera. Okay, moving on to the meat and potatoes of the show, because this is the fun stuff. I'm going to be talking about how to choose your next camera. It's pretty confusing for a lot of people these days. There's a lot of choice out there and a lot of ways to buy cameras as well. It's not just, open up a book and put your finger down and that's going to be the right camera for what you need. There's a lot of questions you may need to ask. There's a lot of things that a salesperson can do to draw out what it is that you need from your camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your needs. We're going to talk about some benefits. I'm going to recommend everybody come in and try out the cameras, put it in your hand, see how it feels, see the ergonomics, check out the menu and things, because all of that's pretty important. And I'm going to talk quickly about the extra 10% that you might not think about the cameras can really offer you. So different examples of needs that you may have. First of all of our needs are different. Highly unlikely you shoot the same kind of things that I do. Professional wrestling is an extremely challenging environment. That's what this is, by the way. And if anybody's interested, this Saturday, Barrie Wrestling is holding their event. It's going to be incredible. And on Sunday, Destiny is doing something in Toronto. So if people love pro wrestling and you want to see me in action or just come and watch a good event, check these two events out, Saturday and Sunday, one in Barrie, one in Toronto. A lot of fun. That being said, if I'm going to be making these images in a very low light situation where I need a very fast shutter speed and my ISO is going to be crazy high, I have very specific needs. Bryan, you may not shoot pro wrestling. You may
shoot at 20,000.
You shoot 20,000 ISO. So do I, right? These are the crazy things that we can do with technology these days. And if you're doing those things, make sure you choose the camera for that. Not every camera can. Know your level of expectation. Level of expectation is something people don't necessarily think about. They come into a store thinking every picture should be National Geographic or Sports Illustrated, when really you're uploading it to Facebook, you're sharing it with friends. You may not do those things that you need that high level of expectation. So when you're choosing your camera, think about what it is that you really, really are striving for. Let us know and we can help you, again, narrow down your choices. I hate to say it, but you want to think about your budget. And the reason I hate to say it, because budget's different for everybody, right? Some people have the money and some people don't. Be realistic. Consider you may want to buy extra memory cards. You may want to buy extra batteries. You might want our extended warranty, which I recommend always. I know it sounds silly, but I do. I've used it. Let's just put it that way. A lot of my customers have used it. You may want to buy a camera bag or some other accessories. So kind of roll that all into your budget expectations as well. If you can only afford $200, know you can only afford $200. If you can afford $2,000, you can get something totally different. And then you can come in, we can qualify you with the right questions and find out your needs, and then make that recommendation that's going to do what you need it to do. Think about your physical limitations. Do you have any shoulder injuries or any neck pain, things you don't want a heavy camera around your neck? Maybe you want to go to a bridge camera. I'm going to go into what all these cameras types are in just a minute. But there's all different sizes and different qualities of cameras that you can choose from. So it may not always be that very expensive, heavy camera that you see everybody using out there. And then last thing, think about video. Are you shooting video or is it just photos? Because some cameras are better for video and some cameras aren't. As I mentioned, the 5D3 was one of the DSLR cameras that really took video seriously. And you were able to get great results with good focusing and great image quality and great B-roll footage with that super slow motion that Bryan mentioned. So every camera is a little bit different, and you can kind of hone down which one is right for your needs if you start thinking about those needs before you come into the store. And keep in mind, what's perfect for me may not be perfect for you. So always keep an open mind. Don't let somebody who says, oh, you should go buy this Sony camera be the only voice of reason for you. You want to ask, why should that Sony be perfect for me? Why is it perfect for you? What is it that you do that makes that Sony perfect for you? And if that's the same as you, sure, maybe that Sony's perfect for you. Think about it a little bit more, because there's a lot of choice out there, and they all make great cameras. All right, what are some of the benefits that you're going to find? And for this, I'm going to go into the differences in some cameras. And by the way, if anybody has some questions, please go ahead and pop it into the chat. I will see it right away, and I'll be able to answer them. If I don't see it, one of my colleagues here in the store might see that and draw my attention to it. So first of all, for cameras, we have lots of choice. We have our cell phones, which can be really effective. If I'm going to the grocery store and taking a picture of something I want to confirm with my wife, that's okay. Other than that, a cell phone has such a small little sensor, such low dynamic range, that you may end up not really liking the clarity. Especially, for example, the other day I saw a beautiful sunset, and I tried to take a picture with my cell phone. And I noticed that all the clouds and all the details were really jagged around the edges. They didn't really hold that detail. Small sensor equals low dynamic range. Dynamic range is the stuff where you see your shadows and you see your highlights and all that clarity in those really hard to see things. So sometimes the small sensor of a cell phone just can't reproduce that. These guys here have a little bit larger sensor, not much, but they're very compact and you can put it in your pocket. And it's not connected to the internet. So every time you go to take a picture, you're not getting a text or a message, or your phone's not going to ring in the middle of a video or something like that. So it isolates you from your internet world and lets you just focus on making photos. This happens to be the Ricoh Pentax WG90. It's a waterproof, durable, compact camera for around $400 with a nice quality sensor, but it's a point and shoot size. Now, these guys, Panasonic FZ300, my personal favorite camera. I guess if we were to look at every camera made in the past 7-8 years, I would put this one number one over everybody, because it applies for so many people. It's got a great lens made by Leica. It's a 2.8 aperture from 25 millimeter to 600 millimeters. It's a massive range to have a 2.8 aperture lens. It's weather resistant, it's easy to use, good quality, made by Panasonic, and they sell for around $730 or so. It's the camera I sold my own mother, if that matters, but great camera. My former regional manager, I sold one of them. It's been around for a while, but it's still a tried and true camera. And we actually have them back in stock, which is pretty cool. A lot of people, for that big bridge camera with the massive zoom like the Canon, this camera, and this camera all have the same size sensor. These just happen to have more zoom. This one's about the same size as this one because it has less zoom, but a larger aperture. So the camera physically is about the same size, but they're both great cameras. This is about $800. This is about $730. From there, we start getting into what they call advanced compact cameras. An advanced compact camera is a camera with a larger sensor, better lens, maybe less zoom range, but more manual capabilities. I can control more shutter speeds and apertures and video frame rates and so on. This is the ZV-1 Sony, made for vlogging, made for video application. Everybody says that and assumes that it can't be good for photography, but it's just as good as for photography as their RX100 series is. It's a really good little camera with a little Don King haircut, which I love. You remember Don King? Mike Tyson's back in the news, so I guess that's relevant. Is he still with Don King? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I digress. But, I mean, you have some decent little zoom on it, big sensor, as I say, so the quality of your shadows and your highlights are going to look better. You have more control of shallower depth of field, so the blurred backgrounds because of the larger sensor. But still very compact, super straightforward and easy to use. As soon as you close the screen, it turns itself off. You open the screen, it turns itself on. Stellar little camera for around $1,000 or so. Now we're going up into the SLR style. Now SLR stands for single lens reflex. It's the same kind of camera that this AE1 Canon is, just not film. It's digital. So the sensor itself is large. This particular guy here, the Schwartz, is an APS-C size sensor. So it's a cropped, as they call it. It's about 1.5 times smaller than the sensor on this 5D, the full frame camera. Again, Larger the sensor, the more the dynamic range. The larger the sensor, the more control of depth of field you're going to have, the more details and shadows and highlights and so on. Generally considered a more professional model when you have a larger sensor camera. The camera I'm recording on right now is the next step. It's their new mirrorless format. Mirrorless is the same as SLR without a mirror, without a roof prism. They've changed their focusing systems so they're faster. They don't need the mirror anymore, which helped with focusing, and the roof prism was your focusing screen. Now that they're focusing on the sensor, they don't need all that rigmarole, so the cameras are smaller. And that's the beauty of a mirrorless. It's smaller, it's lighter, has better video, faster focusing, and with the newer technology and computers, much better high ISO, as Bryan has noticed on his cameras that he has. So that's the thing. When you're looking at buying a camera, knowing the differences between these things is really important. Knowing what you're looking for in the first place, your level of expectation, it can save you a lot of money. I have a lot of customers that come in asking for a Canon SLR or Sony or something, and they end up leaving with the Panasonic because it does everything they want to do easier, not having to change lenses, lightweight, compact. So think about your needs, because that's the most important thing. And don't let a salesperson tell you that this is perfect for you. If in the gut you're saying it's not, keeping in mind that at Henry's, if you do buy something and hate it, you have 15 days to bring it back. Happy to help you that way. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, so yeah, each camera has its benefit. Obviously, a smaller camera's benefit is it's compact. You can put it in your pocket. A professional camera's benefit is that you can earn money with that thing. You have guaranteed decent results, guaranteed good dynamic range, guaranteed proper focusing systems, and so on. So you can really effectively walk into a professional world and kill it almost all the time. As far as brands go, I don't know, Bryan. We've had this conversation. Brand, I'm a Nikon, you're a Canon or Sony, and there's all these different brands. It doesn't matter. You're shaking your head. You're agreeing with me.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. What matters is, does the camera speak your language? I've kind of talked about it earlier. Mine might be from Greece, and the other one might be, it's not literally where they're from, but it's a different language that you may be unfamiliar with. So take some time to learn the camera that you own already. If it's confusing, come into our store. Let us help you with it. We love it. That's why we still have a store, is so that you can come in and get some help. So take advantage of that. Oh, Shelly was watching. Hey, Shell. That was 6 minutes ago. Sorry, I missed you. She's at work right now. She should be working. Get to work. Yeah, so choosing that camera, the brand is less important than you may think. However, if your mother or father had a Canon and they have lenses for you to use, great idea to stick to Canon. If you have used a Canon, going to Nikon is going to be a big shift in how you work with your camera. So maybe it's not the best move to switch to a different brand. If you're just having a family member or somebody that has a similar camera, that could help you learn how to use your camera. You can get feedback from them. So sticking to a brand you're familiar with is really a solid choice, and I always recommend that to start. Beyond that, though, you have to start thinking what else is important to you. For me, low light, focusing, and it has to feel good in the hand. I've got these things. Not everybody has these things. Some things are like this big, right? So sometimes a smaller body is a better thing for you. Personally, I like something that's got some gription. That's a technical term. You can use it. Gription. You can hang on to it. It's not going to slip out of your hand if you happen to let go. That's why I also use a hand strap instead of a neck strap, because if I'm shooting and I got to dip out of the way of somebody, I don't want to choke myself with the strap, right? So the hand strap is always the best way for me. Little hip holster, super convenient, always at my hip when I need it. You may not need that. So again, think of your needs. That's really, really important. And trust your camera salesperson. I know it sounds kind of weird, but at least at Henry's, we really care about who we hire. I'm going to speak for Newmarket here specifically. I know the chain in general does a great job picking people that can do the job really well. But if you're not happy with the service you're getting, ask for somebody else. Go to a different location. Try and find that help, because we want to help you. At least here in Newmarket Henry's, Joseph and I have been here for 15, 16 to 18 years. Juan over here is a Nikon ambassador. The guy knows his stuff in and out. Daniel, who's worked here, is a professional videographer and movie maker. Steve, when he comes back, which he's coming back very soon, to all those who know Steve. I'm very excited about it. He worked for Rogers for like 25 years. He's a filmmaker. We've got talent in our location that's incredible. Aurora, our store manager, went to college for photography, and she's my podcast co-host, and she's an incredible photographer. And there's always people here that can help out. So use your store as a resource. Trust your salespeople. I have a lot of customers that come in and say, well, I read online that so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. That may be valid, and that may work really well for them. But let's find out if that's going to work for you as well. If you're going to be shooting in low light, get a camera with less pixels. It sounds kind of silly, but if we have a digital sensor, say we have two cameras, same size sensor. We've got the Schwartz and the Schwartz's less pixel cousin over here. Same camera sensor. This guy has 24 million pixels, 24 megapixels. If its little friend over here only has 12 megapixels, that means the pixels individually can be twice as big and fill up the same size on the sensor. A bigger pixel handles high ISO heat better. So when you raise your ISO, it generates more heat, the pixel gets hotter. That's how your camera becomes more sensitive to low light. That's what ISO is. The larger the pixel, the less noise you're going to notice on a comparable generation computer technology camera, because that also helps clean up noise. For example, this 24 megapixel camera from 11 years ago isn't going to be as good as a current 24 megapixel camera today with newer computers and processing. It's going to be better in low light. But a 47 megapixel camera today is actually better than this is at high ISO, just because of the computer power and so on. So buying a current camera, less pixels for high ISO imagery, more pixels for detailed accuracy, like portrait photography or high-end landscape where you're blowing up images very large. All of these things are super important when you're deciding your camera. And one of those things being high ISO, less pixels is better. And video. I don't do a lot of video. You do a ton of video. So for Bryan, his needs for video are much different than mine. So I'm always recommending, think about what your needs are for video. I don't know the exact number, but I can pretty much assure you a very high percentage of people that own these cameras never even touch the video. If you want to play with something new, if you want to get into a creative media that has no limits at all, play with your video. Play around with it. Try different things. Just sit around, take pictures or video of your cat or dog. Edit a quick little video of that. See how it looks. Play with it. It's a lot of fun. If you start to get comfortable with it, that can turn into an additional revenue stream if you're a wedding photographer or something like that, where now you're not just the photographer, you're doing video on the side, completely able to monetize yourself differently. And if you don't want to worry about monetizing yourself, you can just have a lot of fun, because that's what this is all about, is having fun. All right, guys, let's open this up to the Q&A. If we do have some viewers watching, Jerry's watching. Hey, Jerry, haven't seen you in a long time. If you have any questions for me right now, think of things like, where did you buy your first camera? What camera did you choose when you bought your first camera? Are you enjoying it? Are you still using that camera? Let me know. Tell me what you think, and I'll be able to roll that into our conversation here. Otherwise, I'm going to get right into talking about our photo challenge, because it's already 5:30, and I guess with our little delay, we've kind of gone a bit long. Photo challenge is something that we're going to be issuing and talking about every week, but reviewing on the first Wednesday of every month. So May 1st is the first Wednesday of May. That's when we're going to be reviewing the photos for the challenge that we've issued. And the challenge is back to black. Interpret it any way you want. Keep an open mind. Keep it, family friendly if you can, because I'm going to be talking about this on air live, so we want to make sure we can show everybody's pictures. Always remember, too, that we're asking for new photos. We're not asking for pictures from your archives. The whole point of this photo challenge is to get you out making new pictures, and we'd love to see what you can create for back to black. And don't forget to keep it at 72 DPI, which is a standard internet image quality, JPEG, not RAW. As we talked about before, JPEG is something that we can open, you can email, and work with. All right, if there's no questions for the Q&A, it doesn't look like there are, I'm going to keep on going right into the closing of our show and thank everybody for watching today. Thank you, Bryan, for showing up and watching in the store. Appreciate you, as always. And if anybody has any questions after the fact, please email us, newmarket@henrys.com. And don't forget, I'm only human. I'm just a guy in our store talking about photography stuff. My opinions are my own. I appreciate Henry's letting me do this, but by no means is what I'm saying directly coming from Henry's. This is me having a conversation with you guys. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, please let us know. We can change this on the fly and have a lot of fun doing it. Is there anything else? Thank you for being a part of our community, of course. We love the fact that people are contributing to what we do here at the store. Don't forget, every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be doing these again. So if you don't remember your question today and you want to ask next Wednesday, by all means. And if you want to come in the store, just like Bryan did here, you can watch live and be included in the conversation immediately. I think that's about it. Oh, if you want to email me here, brian.weiss@henrys.com goes directly to me, bryan.weiss@henrys.com. You can get a hold of me directly if you have questions. And of course, always newmarket@henrys.com if you want to just email the store, talk to our store manager, or any other employees. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.